this computer. There we go. Dinny, a man of solutions, not problems. Now, so if you want the recording, you can email me and then I'll send it to you. Send me an email. hello@DinnyCollins. What's my email? No, hello@crypto@dinny.com. hello@crypto@dinny.com. Okay, good crew in. Scott is, oh yeah, you're out in Newcastle, right? Feels like Tenerife. Yeah, you just got a heat wave over there. Nice. Excuse me. All right, boom. iPhone is in the house. Let iPhone in. iPhone Kelly, not just regular iPhone. Lewis Hurst is in the house. Can we see Lewis Hurst? Has he got a camera? Joe, Gary, Ollie, Brian, Rosie. These people. He's real people. He is these robots that are always scamming my posts. Stick on your cameras there. Prove your authenticity. Prove your reality. I don't believe you. You're probably just a bot. I might kick you out. I know it's not practical for everyone to have the camera on, but if you can, stick it on there. Sure, we'll have the crack. It's nice to see you. Oh, there's Dave King now. Boom, happy days. Sweet, yeah, looks like we're going to have a busy Zoom here. Jeff's in the house. Peter's here, Christopher here. Dave Walsh is here. Morris is here. Kathy's here. Darren's here. Paul's here. Colin's here. Damien's here. Christopher's here. Lewis is here. Okay, we've got a few more coming in. Right, we'll probably have to give it a minute because there's people flooding in late here, so I won't get started for a minute, just so I'm not coming in now to the presentation trying to let people into the room and I can get my flow on. It's important to have a good flow. Hands up here if you know what a private key is, if you're confident in a private key. Show of hands. Keep them up now. Keep them up, even though I'm going to lower mine. Jesus, anyone got their hand up? You can just hold it up there. Those the cameras on. Those the cameras off. Feck off. I don't even want to know what you're at. Don't bother doing that. You won't put the camera on. You're not playing the game. Okay? Lovely. Hands up here if you think you know the difference. Let me just let these guys in. If you think you know the difference between a private key and a recovery phrase, hold your hands up there. I want to see how many people understand the difference between a private key and a recovery phrase. Hold the hands up, hold the hands up, hold the hands up. Okay, some of the hands are strong up and some of them are sort of gingerly coming up. But fair play to you, not many people know the difference. And if you do, congratulations. That's awesome. It's something that everyone needs to know. If you're going to own digital assets, you need to know what a private key is, and you need to know what a recovery phrase is, you need to know what a mnemonic phrase is, you need to know what a seed code is. It's, and it sounds all scary, but a lot of them mean the same thing, and we'll try and break it down and give you a crash course this evening. That is the plan. Tom's car, lovely stuff. I see a few people that actually done this emergency Zoom are back in for another refresher, which is cool. But it's good to see a few faces here that I haven't seen in a while, or I haven't, met on any of my workshops or anything yet, or any of my consulting. So you are all very, very welcome. By the way, since we've 76 people here, if you are okay, and somehow I need to do the competition. All right, so we're going to do that at the very end of this. So hang around if you want to be in the competition. But remind me about that. Someone posted in the comments. I've written it down here, but you know me, lads. I'll be trying to multitask and manage all these people. And I've no Willem. I'm here on my own today. No help from the office. So sometimes you can forget stuff. So remind me. I'll have to give away a good prize this evening. Worth a couple £100. I think more though. I think we're millions because if you actually action it. But I'm biased. Anyway, let's see what's the camera's on. Boom, 1 page, 2 page. Page 3 and 4 are all in darkness. So page 3 and 4, up your game, get the cameras on there. Till we have to crack, if you can. Okay. Apologize, I can't have the video on this evening. Shane, that's all right. I'm real, but I have a child in the bath. That's okay, Rosie. Fair play, multitasking. Don't drop the phone in the bath. I've done that before. Lovely. Okay, so there's still a few people coming in. We'll get cracking now in a minute. So we're talking about private keys. The whole thing about this evening is just to talk to you a little bit about how to custody your assets and how to keep them safe. Okay, the most important thing with crypto, or Bitcoin especially, is that you own it in 10 years time. You still own it. So you need to understand the risk. And the industry has changed. The systemic risk in our industry has definitely changed over the last 2 weeks. Okay, the drawdown that we've seen in the market, it's stressed a lot of these crypto native companies and it's pushing them to their limit. And it's not just crypto native companies, it's companies across the board, because you can feel it. Okay, even if you don't run a company, you can feel it. Imagine your family as a company. Okay, your bank balance. If you run your family as a company, you know, your family's budget as a company or a hedge fund, you'll do really, really well. Most people don't do this stuff, and so they've no idea how they're doing. But like, you'd never run a company like that, or the company go out of business the way you run your personal finances. But if any of us understand this, or you run a company, you'll understand that margins are tighter now. Okay, costs, overheads have all gone up a lot, and we haven't been able to pass that on to the consumer. Okay, and that's just because of this monetary expansion. So all companies across the board, including crypto companies, are going to be pushed, and not all companies are going to be here in the next 2 years. A lot of companies are going to go out of business, default, go bankrupt, and just fizzle out and disappear. Okay, so it's important, once you understand that you understand how to custody your Bitcoin and make sure you keep it safe. And that's the most important thing. Okay, now we've 89 participants on. By the way, anyone who wants to win the competition that I'll be doing at the end of this, you need to be a subscriber on YouTube. So Crypto With Dinny on YouTube. If you're not a subscriber, you won't be able to win. So you can multitask now. If you're a multitasker, okay, you can swipe out of the Zoom, go open YouTube, search for Crypto With Dinny, hit the subscribe button, and then you can win. You've got one in 90 chance of winning. But we'll be running it in the comments later, so it'll be a bit of crack. So make sure YouTube's a subscriber. And either way, if you're getting some value, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button on YouTube. It helps the YouTube algorithm. It's been a slog to get to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. I probably should have started a YouTube channel years ago when I started a Facebook channel, but I was too lazy. I don't hate social media. It's sort of a means to an end. It's good, but I try and limit my social media. And now I'm like, fucking hell, you have to be on everything. Now they want me to be on TikTok, and I'm like, feck off. I'll probably do that in a year or two, you know, and I'll be late to that. But Jesus, there's just too much social medias. All right, life happens outside, not fecking on the screen, for me anyway. But right, let's get cracking here now. So Daniel Madden, come on in, Daniel. Now let me see, I'm going to share my screen. You guys are all muted. Admit all those lads there. Thumbs up if you can hear me loud and clear. Lovely stuff. Hands up if you've done your daily exercise today. Jeez, people need to up their game. No point in being rich if you're dead, lads. I'm kidding. Right, what do we want? Preview, emergency zone. That's the baby. Share. We'll go to view. And we'll go to enter full screen. We'll let in that lad. Give us a thumbs up if you can see that there, guys, please. You can see my orange screen. Happy days. Boom, Brian McCarthy, come on in. Okay, so all we have there is a little picture of a wallet on the floor, and someone's walking away with it. Okay, they're losing their wallet. And it's a disaster if you lose your wallet. If you lose your wallet in the real world, okay, it's actually not as bad as losing your wallet in crypto universe, because in the real world, someone might hand it into a guard station and you could get it back. Okay, you may or may not get it back. But in crypto land, if you lose your wallet, it's game over. Okay, there's no coming back from that. And it's something that we need to be mindful of. We have an expression in Bitcoin, okay, and I'll say Bitcoin all the time, but you can relate this to all of crypto, okay, and it's not your keys, not your coins. Okay, hands up if you've heard that. Hold the hands up, let me see who's heard of not your keys, not your coins. Deadly. Sorry, there's still a lot of people coming in here. I might just have to close this meeting and lock them all out, but you know, we all fucking are late or struggle to get in. But we have an expression called not your keys, not your coins. And that means if you don't own your private keys, you're taking on what's called counterparty risk. Okay, hands up if you know what counterparty risk is. Okay, so what counterparty risk is, when you put your money in the bank, you're taking on counterparty risk because they own your money, they have your money. Okay, so you have to trust that they'll give it back to you. Okay, and we have FDIC insurance and we have government regulation. So it's, you know, there's not much trust needed to have your money in the bank. Although people in Greece would argue that fact and say, Dinny, they stole half my money. They're so stupid. Money in the bank is risky. But you know, us as Irish people, we've never had that event happen, so we think it's fine. Okay, it's the same with crypto. Once we have If we have our money sitting on our crypto, sitting on an exchange, or Bitcoin on an exchange, or with a custodian, we have counterparty risk, okay? Because we have to believe, trust that the counterparty will give us back our crypto, or will give us back our Bitcoin, or will be able to give us back our Bitcoin, that they manage it carefully and they don't suffer a hack like what happened to Bitfinex in 2016, or Mt. Gox was the biggest crypto hack, and that still hasn't been sorted out. And thousands, hundreds of thousands of people lost all their Bitcoin way back then. Imagine if they had that Bitcoin today, they'd be extremely wealthy, but unfortunately they lost it all. Okay, so they learned the lesson really hard way, not your keys, not your coins. Okay, so the only way that you can control your keys is to use a wallet, guys. Okay. Now, so Dinny's saying things have changed. What's changed? Okay, can you tell me why? Well, over the last, I sort of alluded to there before we got cracking, over the last 2 weeks, we've seen a couple of big crypto companies and big crypto hedge funds fail and go under. Okay, or not go under. That's me exaggerating, but evidently get into difficulty because withdrawals have been paused. And that's never a good sign when a crypto company pauses withdrawals. You know, that's what Mt. Gox did before it became realized that all their assets were stolen and they were insolvent. Okay, and same with Bitfinex, and you know, Celsius have been a big lending platform, a big custodian platform, and now day 2 of paused withdrawals. So I see inherent risk in holding your private keys online and holding them with a third party and taking on counterparty risk. Now, anyone who's ever done any workshops or consulting with me knows that we explain all those risks and we manage them, we hedge them. So we never keep all our crypto online or on an exchange or with a counterparty. Never, ever, ever. You know, it's defeating the purpose of why Bitcoin was invented. But retail people or people who haven't done our courses, right, they don't understand that. So sometimes they're 100% exposed to online custody of their assets and they don't really own them. They think they own them. Okay, and what I want to communicate to you guys is, if you're going to be in this space, the most important thing that I think you need to learn is keep your Bitcoin. You still have it in 10 years, okay? Because things have changed. So what are the advantages of using a counterparty? It's easier. That's why we'd use a counterparty. It's a little bit easier for someone else to mine my Bitcoin than for me to have to mine it myself, okay? And the next thing, the attractive thing, the thing that I would have been interested in was the yield that you can earn interest off your Bitcoin. You can earn a passive income off it. However, when I look at the hindsight's 2020, and when I look at the risk returns of I'm risking 100% of my Bitcoin by leaving it with a counterparty and they're paying me 5%, is that worth it in the long run? Now, all going well and industry being steady and everything being fine, I would have said, yes, it is worth it to risk a portion, not 100% of your Bitcoin. For me, it was always 15% was my at-risk amount that I would choose to leave with counterparties. 15% of my portfolio. The rest of my Bitcoin I'd be keeping myself, and 15% I'd put at risk. But now I've changed that. Now I'm like, nah, it's not worth any. 100% needs to be put securely, and I'm not putting anything at risk because the industry is too new. We're seeing the industry being pushed. What's happening now, we've seen a crypto crash, and most of you guys are in crypto, so just pay attention to crypto, and it seems like it's all doom and gloom. However, if you pay attention to the stock market, you'll know that it's a bloodbath there. The stock market has corrected worse than it's corrected in 90 years. 90 years. Like, with that knowledge, you should realize that Bitcoin being 20 grand, it's actually doing really well because it's a bloodbath out there for assets and nothing is safe. You're not safe in cash, you're not safe in in stocks, and you're not safe in crypto, and you're not even safe in gold. Okay? So it's just a bloodbath out there, and that's why it's an uncertain time. And while it's a difficult time for all us as individuals, it's a difficult time for crypto native companies who maybe didn't predict this coming, who are slightly over leveraged. And the other problem is that all these companies are interconnected, just like banks are all interconnected. That if one bank gets into trouble, you can be guaranteed there's a load of banks that are connected to that. They have what's called contagion. Okay, it's just a financial term, and it just means that when stuff is connected, you know, a problem. And that's why maybe 6 months ago, if you're paying attention to financial news, there was a big fund out in China, and they were getting into difficulties, and there was a contagion effect from that the whole world was worried about it, that if they get into trouble, we get into trouble in Ireland. America gets into trouble over one massive fund in China getting into bother. Okay, so you have that contagion effect, and the fact that we've seen a couple of hedge funds go bang, crypto hedge funds, and a big crypto company get into difficulty, I would say never has it been more important to make sure that you understand not your keys, not your coins, and you learn how to self-custody your Bitcoin. Now, so the reasons for Bitcoin, all right. One, money with a fixed supply. Euros are printed every day, every week. And so they lose their value over time. They're programmed to lose value over time, and that's meant to incentivize you to spend them. When you actually question that and go, is that a rational thing to do? So basically, you're going to steal my money unless I spend it. That doesn't really sound fair to me. I work my ass off for this money. It seems stupid, but I think no one really questions stuff sometimes. Okay, but Bitcoin's the opposite. Bitcoin is a money that's programmed to get scarcer and scarcer over time. So you can own Bitcoin today, and you'll know that it gets scarcer and scarcer. So in Bitcoin denominated terms, your Bitcoin becomes more valuable over time, as opposed to less valuable over time, like your euros do. But the second most important thing about Bitcoin is it's money that you can own. Okay, you can't own your euros, you can't own your dollars, you can't own your pound sterling. We thought we could all the way up until 2022, when we seen the madness that happened in Canada. Okay, and we've seen the madness that happened with Russia and the sanctions, and that people's money was just turned off. People who were totally unconnected to the war, their ability to get into global markets was frozen. Okay, and people in Canada, their money was turned off, their bank accounts were turned off, their financial services, their ability to feed their family, to pay their mortgages, to participate in society was turned off for a €50 donation to a protest against mandatory medication, government mandatory medication that was pushed upon people. So you didn't have to do anything crazy. You didn't have to do anything extremist. You just had to send €50 to a cause that you thought, well, yeah, I support that. Like, I'm not all in for that. And your money's turned off. So that's a problem, okay, as we move into an environment of more control. And our next step is what's called a central bank digital currency, which is basically like fiat, okay, but it's just a worse version of it. You have zero privacy. There's no such thing as cash anymore, okay? Everything you do is tracked and traced, and you have no privacy, and you can be told what you can and can't spend your money on, and your money can have an expiry date, and you can have your own interest rates particular to you. And it's very much, I call it like central bank digital communism, because that's basically what it is. But Bitcoin's different. Bitcoin is money that you can own. If you own Bitcoin, you own it on a wallet, okay? At the moment, I don't know if this will last forever, but at the moment, there's no KYC in a wallet, okay? So there's no identity attached to this wallet. Once I take my Bitcoin off the exchange and I have it on a wallet, it's mine, okay? It's anonymous money, as money should be, okay? Money shouldn't be attached to the state, just like church shouldn't have been attached to the state. And 100 years ago, no one thought it would be possible to disconnect the two. But in today's day and age, we go, what the fuck are we at letting those priests fucking run the kit? And they cause all sorts of carnage, okay? Money shouldn't be attached to the state either, because every human is corruptible, all right? But Bitcoin on a Bitcoin wallet is money you can own, money you can spend, money you can self-custody, all right? You won't have an ability to self-custody euros. Go into your bank and try and take out 100 grand in cash. It won't happen. They won't give it to you. You can fight with them all day. You won't get the money, okay? So euros aren't money that you can own. You have 100 grand in Bitcoin, you can own it. You can take it onto a hardware wallet if you want. Once you have a hardware wallet, you can do what you want with it. You can bury it in a field and it'll be there for you in 100 years, okay? So it's your money. It's like owning a gold coin, all right? You can hold it in your hand, it's yours. Obviously, you've got the custody considerations there. Now, I just want to pop out of this and just show you one little thing for a second. So I'm going to stop that share. I'll come back to that in a second. And I just want to share another thing. Is everyone alive here? Thumbs up if you're still alive. Is everyone paying attention there? Right, share screen. Just want to quickly show you this, because people don't appreciate what their Bitcoin is actually worth, and they think, I only have 500 quid, I only have £1,000, I only have whatever. This is a compound interest calculator, just a basic compound interest calculator. You can look at them on the internet, you can find them, whatever. Okay, this is £5,000 in Bitcoin. Doesn't matter if it's dollars. It's the percentages we're interested in, not the currency denomination. Okay, this is how your Bitcoin will perform if Bitcoin does 50% for a decade. £5,000 investment. Okay, €5,000 today. Put in Bitcoin. You do nothing. You put it on a wallet. You keep the wallet safe for a decade, and you have a look at it. This is if Bitcoin does 50% a year for the next decade. Now, traditionally, Bitcoin has returned 160% per year. Okay, but we're not going to go that bullish. We're going to go, nah. Don't be blowing smoke up my ass. Let's pull it back. No, not even 100%. No, affect that. Okay. Now, consider that Bitcoin done a 20x off the low in 2020 when we went from, $4,000 to 69 grand. And we've got another halving event coming up in 2024, only 2 short years away. It'll have happened by now in 2 years, so it's under 2 years away. Bitcoin halves again, all right? But we're not even going to say it's going to do 100% a year. And by the way, Bitcoin doesn't do 100% a year every year. It's not going to 100, 100, 100, 100. No, it'll do like 600% one year, and then it'll do minus 10 the next year, then it'll do minus 50 the next year, then it'll do plus 10 the next year, then it'll do 800% the next year. So it's not linear. Otherwise, we'd all fucking own it by now. There's volatility, and that's why most people are afraid of it. They don't understand it, and they haven't done their homework, or they haven't done any education on it. But we're going to pull back and say, what happens if my Bitcoin appreciates at 50% per annum? Okay, and run through those figures with me, and we'll see what that sounds like. If Bitcoin is to have compound annual growth of 50%, that means we're at 20K today. That means by 2024, we get back to 40K. That's pretty believable. And you guys are in the space for any length of time know that we get a bit of good news, we'll be at 40K in 2 weeks. But we give it 2 years, okay? And Bitcoin halves in 2024. So we also have a halving event. So it's very much like 40K, come on, Dinny. 400 is a bit more realistic, no? But anyway, 40K, okay? By 2026, we have to get to 80K. Yeah, I think Bitcoin can do that. 2026, it'll have halved, and we're only at 80K. Sure, we were at 80K last year. All the continued adoption. 4 years worth of adoption and growth, okay? More countries owning it. Banks owning it. Hedge funds owning it. Sovereigns owning it. Insurance funds owning it. All the technology that'll be built. It's like, yeah, I think we can do that. 2028, we got to get to 160K. Ooh, 100 grand Bitcoin. By 2028, nearly the end of this decade, and we're only at 160 grand Bitcoin. Yeah, I think we can do that. And then by 2030, we have to get to 320,000 euro Bitcoin. Now, when you understand the space, you'll understand that it's not retail that are going to move the market, but it's institutional money is what's going to move the market. Institutional money is waiting on regulation. When institutional money dips a fingernail in, we get to these sorts of numbers. By them allocating 0.5%, not 5%, 0.5%, we start to get up towards these figures, okay? Now you'd have to think, between now and 2030, we get that regulation clarity. We probably will have it in the next 2 to 3 years, okay? So for me, that's, it's a pretty achievable return on Bitcoin. Obviously, this isn't financial advice. This is a Bitcoiner's take on how Bitcoin's going to perform. But I think 50%, and you can see there that 5 grand, which is, it's not a small amount of money. It depends. Everyone's different. To some people, it's a hell of a lot of money. And to some people, it's not a huge amount of money. But with that sort of investment and just holding it in Bitcoin and doing nothing, only keeping it safe, you have the potential to have almost 670 grand or almost 670,000 euro pension plan. Okay, now here's the beauty of it. This is the golden goose analogy, and I'm just going to explain this to you guys while these are on. Obviously, some of you guys have much bigger Bitcoin pension plans than this, okay? And these are dollar cost averaging. We put in a bit of DCA into the plan, 50 quid a week, and whack, our pension explodes. This is the beauty of compounding and why we leverage it in all the plans that I build for people, okay? But this is the golden goose, okay? This is the golden goose. Let's say your pension, now, you've dollar cost average, you've got 1.3 million, happy days, you're loving life, all right? You whip out 300 grand. You go, feck this, time to live, lads, let's have it, okay? You whip out 300 grand, but bam, because you have the critical mass, you have the golden goose now. Like if Bitcoin goes up for 10 years, it's going to become evident. Like Bitcoin doesn't stop going up until, if you want to know the true value of Bitcoin, take all the money in the world and divide it by 21 million. If Bitcoin succeeds for 10 years, it's evident it's going to continue to succeed for another 10 years, okay? But however, you start trying to spend your Bitcoin pension plan and Bitcoin continues to go up. It might go up at 50%, okay? What's 25% of 1 million? It's 250 grand. That's how much your pension plan makes in a year. 250 grand by doing nothing, okay? And that's if Bitcoin is only returning 25% per annum now. If it starts to fizzle out and it's not doing the 50%. So that's why it's important to pay attention to this thing. And just like 10 years ago, anyone who took a small little bit of money and put it in Bitcoin and kept it safe for 10 years doesn't have to worry about money anymore today. The same is true, in my opinion, today, okay? And that's why you should pay attention and get yourself a little bit of education around this stuff to secure your assets so you have them in 10 years. And you're not like all the people who coulda, woulda, shoulda, had it and lost it or whatever, all the sob stories of people who had Bitcoin and lost Bitcoin, or had Bitcoin and the exchange went under, or had Bitcoin and didn't think it was worth anything. It's the exact same scenario today. And the irony is, like, everyone says, oh, I wish I bought it 10 years ago. Why didn't my friend tell me about it? Oh, Jesus. It's like, hello? It's the same thing today. This is binary. It either works or it doesn't work. This is no brainer. Like, you either allocate to it or you don't. But nothing has changed. When you understand this asset, like, So the purpose for showing you this is to show you that even if you only have a couple £100 in this thing, best thing you can do is secure it and make sure it's safe. Rather than, maybe being lazy or just being, I'll get around to that, or I must do that, or I should do that. Appreciate what you have today, even if you think it's not a huge amount. Now, thumbs up for everyone still with me. Let me have a sip of water. Awesome. Okay. Back to our presentation then. Share. What am I doing here now? Stop share. That's the wrong one. Boom. Share screen. Where's my presentation? Preview. That one, is it? There we go. Boom. Okay. Hold on. There's people in the waiting room. Imagine showing up this late for a meeting. I don't think I can let them in. View. Full screen. So, reason for Bitcoin. It's money that you can truly own. No, I can't let them in. Boom. Okay, so therefore you should own it. The only way to own your Bitcoin is to use a wallet, either a Ledger or a Trezor. Okay, Ledger are my preferred one. They're just easier to use. They have a nice interface. And but a Ledger is your wallet. That's how you can have your Bitcoin. You can have your Bitcoin, you can take it offline, you have zero counterparty risk. You don't have to worry, because remember, all these crypto companies, they're startup companies. They're only startups. They're only here a couple of years. And if anyone understands startup companies, you'll know that the chance of a company surviving 5 years is 90% failure rate. What are the chances of it surviving its next 5 years in business? It's a 90% failure rate. So, by you keeping all your Bitcoin with someone, you're keeping all your Bitcoin with someone who historically has a 90% chance of not being here in 5 years, and the next 5 years another 90%. You'd be very foolish to build your pension around those odds. Build your pension around 100%. If I secure my assets, I have them forever. And that's why Bitcoiners, it's a whole thing, not your keys, not your coins. Learn to self-custody. So there's risk everywhere. Okay, there's non-targeted risk. That's systemic risk to crypto exchanges or custodians or whatever. There's targeted risks that's associated to you. Like, obviously I have more targeted risk than you because I'm publicly out on Facebook every day telling people, learn about Bitcoin. Bitcoin starts hitting stupid figures. Everyone would be like, geez, we must go and break into Dinny's house and steal all his Bitcoin. Obviously I have to mitigate that and put security measures in place so that I don't have my Bitcoin at my disposal or at my residence, say. And then you are the systemic risk as well, like in how you manage them. So there's always risk. It's impossible to have zero risk. You'll always have an element of risk no matter what you do. Putting your money in the bank is risky. Why is it risky? Because in under a decade you lose half it just from inflation. That's pretty risky. If I lose half my wealth in under a decade, that's risky. Or maybe the systemic risk in the banking system. If you ask yourself, why are people buying bonds today? I'm going to say people. I mean, massive hedge funds, massive insurance endowment. They're buying €100 million bonds. Why are they doing that when they're guaranteed to get less money back? Well, they're doing it to take money outside of the financial system, and because they see systemic risk in our financial system. So they'd rather take a haircut on the money by taking it out of the system than leave it in the system and put 100% of it at risk. And that's why they'll buy a 2% bond when inflation's at 8%. Why else would someone give their money away with a guarantee to get less money back in 10 years? Because they want money outside of the system. So it's impossible to have no risk. So we have to just realize that we'll have risk. So what is a private key? Your private key basically is just a really, really large number, 77 digits. It'd be impossible not impossible, but very difficult for a human to write down 77 digits and be able to check it and not make a mistake, because just our brains aren't programmed to do that. That is a private key. Where do you get your private key? You get your private key from your wallet. You don't create it. Once you buy a wallet, the wallet creates the private keys for you, okay? And the private key, think of it like a key, okay? It's just your key. Your Bitcoin doesn't go onto a hardware wallet. Your Bitcoin stays on the blockchain, which is the internet, which is everywhere and nowhere, okay? What goes on here is your private key, all right? And you also get a backup key, which is basically like a spare key. So if you ever lose the wallet or it gets broken or you let it fall down the toilet, that's fine. You can back this stuff up, okay? So that you don't lose your Bitcoin and you can always recover it and restore it. But your private key is essentially a really, really large number, okay? Where do I get mine? Your wallet. Your wallet's going to produce them. So whatever wallet you have, hands up if you use software wallets. So they just sit, on your phone or on your laptop, software wallet. Hands up here if anyone uses a hardware wallet. Hands up here if you know the difference between a piece of hardware and a piece of software. Okay, hardware is just simple terms, Dinny science. Hardware is like a little thing you can hold in your hand, and software just sits on an app on a computer. Okay, there's no actual physical element to it. Okay, so the beauty of a hardware wallet is it's a thing, you can hold it in your hand, you control it. Come on in there, Martin. Now, so what are these? This is what I was chatting to you about earlier. Seed phrases or recovery phrases or mnemonic phrases. More or less, these are all the same thing. What these are an interpretation of our private key. So our private key is this 7 digit number, this huge number that would be impossible for humans to manage. Okay, so we break them down. Our wallets are able to convert them into a language we can understand. And it comes up with what's called a seed phrase or recovery or mnemonic phrase. And all it does is it breaks that 77 digit number down into phrases, into words, because us as humans, we understand words. So I can write down window or dog or not Dinny, but phone, okay? And that's simple. I can write them down without making an error. So what your wallet does is it converts this massive private key, huge number, into a form that humans can manage, which is words. So your wallet will spit out what's called a recovery phrase or a seed phrase or mnemonic phrase, and it's just 24 words. Okay, and that's your backup. That's how you back up your wallet. And once you keep those words safe, I can set up this wallet. I can put the $5,000 onto it today. Okay, the wallet is going to produce the words. I'm going to write them down on a piece of paper. I might secure them a little bit better than that. We'll talk about that in a second. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this wallet, I'm going to burn it, and then I'm going to, well, it'll be gone. It'll be, I'm going to burn it so it's destroyed. Is the money destroyed? Is the $5,000 gone now the wallet's destroyed? No. I'm going to take the sheet of paper with the words on it, okay, and I'm going to rip it up and throw it away. However, before I done that, because I'm such an intelligent guy, I wouldn't do this, but I'm joking, I memorized the 24 words. Now effectively the $5,000's in my head. Once I can remember those 24 words, I can go around for 10 years. Once I can remember those words, I have $5,000 in my head. And if that Bitcoin goes from $5,000 to $1 million or $500,000 or whatever, I'm now walking around with $500,000 in my head. And that's the amazing thing about it. And whenever I want to spend that Bitcoin, I just go onto Ledger, I buy a new wallet. Instead of clicking set up new device, I just click restore old device. I take the words out of my head, I put them into the new wallet, and wazam, I've $500,000 on the new wallet now. So that's why your private, that's why your seed phrase or your recovery phrase is really important. It's your backup to your crypto. It's something that you can always have access to it. It means it doesn't matter what happens to the physical wallet, the bit of hardware, does that get damp? Does a mouse eat it or something? Okay, once you have your recovery phrase, you always have access to your Bitcoin in the future. How do I secure? Is that okay with everyone? Thumbs up if you're following me. Any questions? I'll have a bit of Q&A at the end. Heavy going, guys. How do I secure my recovery phrase? How am I doing on time? Jesus, it's half now. I better get cracking because I told you I'd only keep this a half an hour. How do you secure your recovery phrase? Okay, obviously pen and paper. That's okay, but what if a mouse eats the paper? So obviously, like laminating the paper is better because if you spill your coffee on it, it's not going to matter if it's laminated. Okay. Better way still is, if you appreciate that, well, I have $5,000, but this is the potential to be hundreds of thousands in the future. Maybe I'll spend £100 on my education, or maybe I'll spend £100 on buying a steel backup wallet. So I have my crypto secured forever. Okay, this is called a build model. And this is just a way of writing down your recovery phrase in steel form, because steel is more durable than paper. A mouse isn't going to eat through steel, okay? It's not going to matter if you let this thing fall down the toilet, it won't be destroyed because it's just steel. You can pick it up again, all right? And that's all these are. They're just a steel way of making a copy of your recovery phrase, just being that steel is much more durable than paper, okay? Now, obviously, it's prudent to have your recovery phrase in 2 separate locations, so you can never be wiped out if your house burns down. Now, these things are meant to be fireproof and bomb-proof and all sorts of stuff, okay? But it's prudent to store them in 2 separate locations, okay? And no digital copy. It'd be easy if we could just take a photograph of the words and then just, put it in our favorites and the photographs of our phone. But the irony of the digital money, okay, the irony of the digital gold is we keep the backup, we keep the recovery in the physical world. We don't let it go into the digital world, because within the digital world, anyone who has access to your recovery phrase has access to your crypto forever, okay? And that's why if you leave your recovery phrase lying around and your husband or your wife sees it and you don't get on with them and they've taken a photograph of it, well, they can whip that off your wallet at any time in the future. Your cleaner can do that or someone who breaks into your house can do that. So you have to understand, you have to secure your private key and your recovery seed carefully, without a digital copy. Okay, so yes, there's responsibility with this thing. Great, that's the thing about Bitcoin. It teaches you self-responsibility. You have to be in control. It allows you to be in control and give you the responsibility. Now, have we anything else on that before I go to my next slide? Yes, okay, I just wasn't sure whether I had that in it. Boom. So very, very important, understand all this stuff. Don't trust, verify. This is a saying in Bitcoin. With Bitcoin, you don't trust anyone. You don't trust central banker, you don't trust politician, okay? You don't trust anybody. You trust maths and code. You trust the same rules to keep an airplane in the sky or make the earth go around the sun, all right? Maths and code, it's beautiful, all right? Test your recovery phrase. Don't assume you wrote it down correctly. I had a client in maybe 2 weeks ago, and he had a substantial amount on the wallet, and I do a security consultation as part of Crypto With Dinny's services, where I set up the wallet, I back it up, I do all this stuff and set someone up forever, okay? And we test all the backups, and we found when we tested the wallet, we tested the backup, that the recovery seed was wrong. Now, luckily, we still had access to the wallet. The wallet wasn't locked or broken or old or lost or damaged or an out edit, so we could actually we could recover the funds. But had we not have realized or checked our recovery phrase, had that guy have needed his recovery phrase, he was screwed. Everything he had was gone. It's not recoverable. There's no phone number to ring. There's no Mr. Bitcoin helpline. Okay, that's the beauty of this thing. You get to be sovereign. You get to take responsibility. So never assume that your recovery phrase works. Always test it. You can download an app from Ledger onto the wallet where you test your recovery phrase. Now, here's a turbo tip. Only type the phrase into the actual wallet. So this is where people go wrong. They'll type the phrase into a website, okay, for a free airdrop. That just means have all my crypto. I know nothing. I never educated myself, okay? Or they'll get an email from Ledger. It looks like it's from Ledger, and Ledger have had a hack, or they want to upgrade security, or whatever other bullshit. But they'll make you put your recovery phrase into a website. So you're there typing into a computer and you're just giving access to your portfolio to anyone, a scammer, okay? So the only place you ever type a recovery phrase is into a wallet. See these little things here? The only place you type it is into it. Little buttons here, click, 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 click. That's the only place your recovery phrase ever goes, okay? And my last little tip about wallets, all right? There's not time to do everything, but I want you to leave with some value today, is if you're gonna buy one of these, I had a message off a guy today, and yesterday I had someone who actually done this, and he was like, Dinny, I bought this on, where did he buy it? What's the name of the fucking big thing? Jeff Bezos' place, what's he called? Amazon. He bought it on Amazon 2 years ago, hadn't set it up, and I said to him, tell you what to do with that wallet. Get it like this and throw it in the bin, because it's worthless. You'd never buy a wallet from a third party. You always just buy it directly from Ledger themselves, okay? Because someone can tamper with that, all right? They can open it up. They can mess with it. You put your money on it, your money disappears. So the only place you buy your wallet is directly from Ledger's website or directly from Trezor's website if you're getting a Trezor. So just mind something silly like that. Because a fella messaged me today, he might be on, he was like, should I buy it on eBay or Amazon, this one or this one? I was like, well, don't buy it on either, man. Come on. This is basic stuff. But again, some people don't learn the basics, and it puts your entire portfolio, your potential of hundreds of thousands or more, at 100% risk, just because you haven't schooled yourself or learned the basics. So just be aware of those simple things. Test your recovery phrase, never assume it works, back it up, and only buy your wallet from the actual suppliers of them, and only type in your recovery phrase if you're storing a wallet into an actual wallet. If you're checking your recovery into an actual wallet, never into a website or anything like that. I know some of this stuff sounds scary. It sounds scary, okay? And yes, you can get some help. This is what I do. This is pretty much what I do 100% of the time. I set this up for people online, or I do it at the office in Swords, where we consult and we build our plan to retire early. We go through it all and we set up their wallets. Now, one thing I will say to you is understand what you have in front of you. Don't be a silly retailer and look at the price of Bitcoin and think it's crashed. For some reason, investment assets are like the only thing in the world that when the price goes down, people aren't excited. I get very excited when the price goes down, because by investing into cheap assets is one of the ways that I was able to put myself in a position to retire early. But like the general consensus of people is, oh, Jesus, Bitcoin's crashed. gone. It's like, what are you at, lad? It's gone down 20 grand. Everyone was buying it for 60 and it was amazing at 60 and it's still great value, but Jesus Christ, it's 3 times cheaper. What can I sell? I was chatting to Lawrence, I see him on the call. We were chatting earlier and he was like, what can you sell, Dinny? I'm selling everything. And you just see the opportunity. So don't focus on price so much, focus on value, focus on understanding an asset, focus on education. Education is what makes you money. Not buying stuff. Buying stuff cluelessly doesn't make you money. It just means you're giving it to someone who's spent time on their education. That's rule number one in investing. The beauty of crypto is anyone can invest in it. The hard thing and why we need regulation is most people don't have the education to be here, and their money's been taken and given to people who have the education. All right, and a lot of them are the bigs, and they manipulate you out of your coins. So be aware of that. Like, you're a little pond. We're all little planktons, and we're swimming in shark pools. Okay, and it's a good sea. Okay, but there's a lot of dangers. Now, what's next? If it all sounds scary and you want some help, yes, you can. So we've set up Retire Early Club, which takes you through all the stuff, handhelds you through it with videos, and we do live calls to bring everyone up to speed. So part of the problem with Crypto With Dinny was not even a problem, but I think it was the community needed it. We done workshops, and it's basically a half-day workshop where you're just bombarded with information, and then you're away into the big bad world. You're on your own, okay? And people were coming back, and consulting is all great and dandy, and a lot of people do it, but it's not for everyone. Not everyone can afford to do one-on-one consulting. So I set up Retire Early Club, and I'm just going to quickly give you a quick blast of what we do on that so you can see what happens behind the scenes. And I've got my competition at the end as well, so give me 2 minutes here and I'll just fly through this stuff and talk just about this. So who wants the option to work or retire? It's nice to have the option, okay? But this is the irony. It's not easy to retire early. It's not, because it takes serious work. It takes work when others are playing, and then you get to have playtime for a lot more of your life. But it's not easy. It's not something that happens by accident. It takes work and it takes dedication. Have you a plan? This is the irony of it. Everyone wants loads of money, or everyone wants to be rich. I know I did. For the first half of my life, I had no plan. I didn't understand how money works. All basic stuff that you need to know if you're going to retire early and master the money game. You need to understand money. But I didn't know any of this stuff, and I didn't have a plan. But if you try and get anywhere on Google Maps and you can't tell it where you are, Google Maps ain't going to take you there. Okay, there's no ability for it to get you where you want to go. But if you know where you are, if you know exactly where you are, Google Maps can take you there. So you need to know where you are, and it's most important foundations of being able to move forward with your finances or anything, whatever your endeavor. You need to know exactly where you are and have a clear picture. Okay, but most of us don't. All right, and that NGMI just means it's not going to make it unless you planned. It's not going to happen by accident. It's difficult to do this stuff. It's not impossible, but it just takes a little bit of work. Retire Early Club, there's a couple of key workshops. So traditionally we do bootcamp. Bootcamp is a half-day workshop, okay? And it's intense. It's a crash course, okay? It's an amazing course, but it's heavy going. But there's much more than that. Like, I didn't do a half-day workshop and understand everything in crypto. I've been learning about it for years now, and I've done workshops and internships and seminars all over the world and put thousands and thousands and thousands of hours into this thing. And I think that's what people are missing. So with Retire Early Club, we do bulletproof security. So we teach you basically how to get your Bitcoin off the exchange, onto the wallet, make sure wallets are secured, make sure you know how to store these things, how to back these things up, where to put them, okay, how to set up your steel wallet, what steel wallet to buy, how you store that, okay, all the basic stuff to have bulletproof security. Because as I said to you, appreciate the value of this thing in the future. Don't be looking at today's value, okay? Appreciate the value that this thing is in the future. And just like 5 years ago, 10 years ago, anyone who bought some Bitcoin, if they kept it safe, life is good now. I believe the same is true today. All right. So that's why bulletproof security comes as number one. And the first thing we have to do is teach you guys to learn how to self-custody. Self-custody is the whole ethos of Bitcoin, why it was created. And it's an important skill. And it seems daunting and scary, but with our help, and you're with other people who haven't a clue and who aren't computer savvy and who aren't sure about managing private keys and all this stuff, but really it's very simple. You get 24 words, you get it on the wallet, you keep it safe, you have your crypto, okay? Obviously there's a little bit more to it than that, of getting it there and everything, but we handheld you through that journey, okay? Planning, how to create your financial statement, how to use it for decision making, again, breaking down, like I said to you earlier, if you run your family's finances like you'd run a company, you can do really well. Most of us don't though, we just run our finances airy-fairy without really knowing where we're at, what we're spending our money on, or what we want, or where we need to go, or how much we need to retire. What's our minimum retirement figure. For most people, the minimum figure to retire is always way lower than you think. When you actually go through your expenses, you know, most people think, oh, it's mad, I'll never reach that. You break down your expenses and you go, holy shit, all I have to do is get this much passive income and I can retire. That's actually achievable with a bit of work. So for me, planning is really important. Investing principles are timeless. Okay, principles, commandments, myths. You know, myths. Why are you afraid to buy Bitcoin when it's crashed? You should really want to buy Bitcoin when it's crashed, but it's just because of your psychology and sort of because of your education or lack of there, and realizing how to actually become a sophisticated investor and how to manage risk. So you're not just a typical retailer rushing in when the price is pumping and standing on the sidelines when the price is dumping. It's the opposite thing you got to do, and that of course takes education. Portfolio structuring. How should you put together this retirement plan? Basically what we're building here is everything that I do with people in my consulting sessions, except we're just doing it in group form, and you're learning for yourself rather than me just telling you this is what you got to do. You know, and I think it's good. Not everyone wants to learn for themselves, and that's fine. You know, one of the beauties of having money is you can buy success or you can buy time. You're like, I don't care, Dinny, just there's the money, you set it up for me, and that's fine. But I think for me, it's always been really empowering to learn stuff myself. And it gives me security that I know I'm in charge and I understand what's going on, as opposed to putting my fate in someone else's hands. So we do a whole workshop, a whole on investing principles, portfolio structuring. We go Bitcoin in depth. Nobody understands Bitcoin deep enough, okay? Myself included. It's something you have to constantly learn. The world doesn't understand Bitcoin yet. We don't. We're just trying to figure this thing out. It's like the internet in 97. That's where we are in the adoption curve. No one knew the internet was going to do to our world in 97. No one could understand it was going to change our world the way it has today. Well, maybe a handful of people did, but just like in and a handful of people in Bitcoin seem to understand how crypto is going to change our world and digital identity and all this digital ownership and property rights in the digital world, and transition from physical store value to digital store value. That is enormous. Divide 400 trillion into 21 million and there's your price of Bitcoin if it achieves that. And that's like saying, will Netflix put Blockbuster out of business? It's like, Jesus, it's obvious it did. It happened. It's like, I'm so stupid, Dinny. Well, it's the same question. It's just, will something digital beat something physical? And in every other aspect of our life, that's been the case. So that's how big this is. Some people are doing maths there. I think it's around 20 million per Bitcoin. And it's still not a currency at that, okay? Oh, sorry, I wasn't finished there. How do I go back? Boom. Tax efficiency. These ways to create wealth to become more tax efficient. Okay, that's the beauty with Bitcoin. And then you are the asset. Work on yourself, work on your psychology, work on your health, work on your motivation, work on your energy, work on your positivity, all the stuff. If you're healthier, you're going to earn more money. Okay, health and wealth are so connected and people disconnect them. And even if you're really, really wealthy, but you're not healthy, you're not wealthy. Okay, you're not wealthy if you're unhealthy and you have loads of money in the bank. That's not wealth. Okay, wealth is energy. Wealth's how you feel. Wealth's how your body works. Because ultimately, time is if Bitcoin teaches you anything, Bitcoin teaches you about time preference. And the most scarce asset that we all have is time. Okay, and health, like it or lump it gives you more time. So it's important. Plus, if you have more health, you've got more energy, you've got more drive, more motivation, you can earn more money. And from me working in fitness business and that sort of stuff, whenever I got entrepreneurs, whenever I got a business owner, I'd pitch them the program, and it might be 1,500 quid, it might be 3 grand. Like, we were expensive. Well, we weren't expensive, but we changed people's life. We were worth it. And they'd say, Dinny, 3 grand. And I'd say, how much do you earn a month? They might say, oh, we do 15 grand. I'd say, right, I bet you after the first month you do 20. Or I'll give you half your money back, I remember I said to a fella one day. And he went for it. Sure, he doubled his fucking income over the first month. Because he'd been struggling with his health. He wasn't able to pick up the phone, and he was just farting along. And now suddenly he's a demon because he feels great. He's full of energy and drive and go. And he doubled his income. Then I wanted to charge him 5 grand for the next one, but he wouldn't bite. Okay, so money spent on you. It doesn't matter what you pay for something if you get a return on the investment. That's what you have to figure out. That's what's important. With the Retire Early Club as well. Sorry, I'm fucking don't hold this up here now. Let me get through this. We do live monthly Zooms. Okay, we do 2 a month. We bring on expert guests, and we discuss the current module, the current lesson, so that everyone's coming together. People are at different stages. Some people are brand new. Some people are a little bit experienced, but ultimately these are the skills everyone needs to learn. We're discussing current market conditions. We're building a community. We're building accountability. Okay. We also have expert guests in. So I'm privileged enough to know a lot of people in space who are very high up in very different companies. And you won't hear these people talk candidly on podcasts. You know, as much as I try and get the questions into people, they just won't talk to you the same way they'll talk to you when they're off air or not mic'd up, you know, on something that's being broadcast to public. But I'm looking forward to having the expert guests on, and you can actually hear from people who are running these businesses and building behind the scenes where the space is going, to be able to speak candidly. Okay. And, you know, we'll have expert guests on to talk about Bitcoin, DeFi, NFTs, tax advisors, Web3, and all the sort of exciting stuff to really give you behind the scenes. The stuff I see when I go to the conferences, I meet these people, and you really see it. And then you'll probably know, well, Dinny, why I'm so bullish on the space. Okay, there's certain things that you can and can't sort of say publicly. You leave yourself open to liability, but privately you can disclose it and just say, listen lads, this is what's going down behind the scenes that you're not being told about. Pay attention to this space. It's not going anywhere. This is the greatest opportunity of anyone's lifetime to participate in this. So we have our expert guests on. We have in-person events. The whole point of this is we're all going to make it. That's what that means if you ever see it. It's a sort of crypto saying, WAGMI. We're all going to make it. But just like all Bitcoin does is it leverage community to create the largest supercomputer in the world. It just linked together loads of computers, and now it's 200 million times more powerful than the second largest supercomputer. 200 million. That's how powerful this is. So when people say, like, is my Bitcoin safe? It's like, yeah, it's like 2 million times safer than your money in AIB bank, or it's like, you know, it's fucking the safest place on earth. Like, this supercomputer. And the same with my fitness business. All I did was bring together people who are all trying to go the same way, and I got them networked, and they had the crack, and they supported each other, and they all done way better than if they were trying to do it individually. This is just a little tip about investing, okay? Don't focus on price, focus on return on investment. When I was broke and living in a caravan, I paid $4,000, all the money I had in the world. I had 4,000, couple of hundred in the bank, paid it all to a coach, Simon Lovell, to teach me how to run a 6-figure business. And that's what I done. I went from living in a mobile home by spending all the money I had, every penny, okay, to Simon. And then I'm like, well, was that a good spend of my money? Hell yeah, because I've learned how to build a 6-figure business. And then I wanted to get my business to a 7-figure business. Look up Alex there. He's an awesome guy. He's a genius on scaling businesses. And I paid Alex 16 grand for 16 weeks. And to me, 16 grand is a shitload of money, guys, okay? It's a lot of money. It's more than I pay myself a week, way more, okay? But he taught me how to scale that business from 6 to 7 figures and got us to a 7-figure business. So like 16 grand to make 7 figures. It's a no-brainer. Although if when I spoke to any of my friends, and I was like, yeah, can I bounce this idea off you? It's this course, something you do. And they're like, 16 grand? You fucking mad, Dinny. Sure, you can learn online for free. Don't understand that price is not what's important. It's return on investment. Okay. Now, luckily, Retire Early Club won't cost you 500 quid per week, or $1,000 a week like I paid Alex, or 500 quid per month, or 249 per month. Retire Early is 99 euros, okay, per month. You can cancel any time, okay? And we're in a bear market. We're going to go to a raging bull market. Many of you guys may have been here for a while and made loads of mistakes, and you're underwater with your portfolio. You know, you've lost a couple of grand or whatever. Your education is going to cost you 99, so that when the bull market comes back around, you're now a sophisticated investor, and you understand all your mistakes, and you understand how to set price targets and how to set limits and exits before you enter the positions, so that you're actually able to make money from this next one, and not just be a typical retailer, ride it up and ride it down, and buy all the wrong stuff, and not understand how to allocate, okay? But because I'm a kind and generous man, sign up before 12 p.m. today. Everything I do is about action. One thing that I'm good at is imperfect action. I just do shit. Okay, and I don't care if it's not perfect, but you need incentives to do shit sometimes. So that's why if you sign up before 12 p.m. today, you get bootcamp for free. Now my bootcamp costs $249. You're getting that thrown in for free. Effectively, you can sign up for the first month and cancel it, and you've got bootcamp plus Retire Early Club plus all the stuff that you get in the first month of Retire Early Club, which is understanding money and a whole series that we do, plus the 2 meetings, and you're getting it all for $249. So it's an amazing deal. It's a thank you for being here tonight. It's to hopefully push you and help you realize that education is how you make money. If you want to retire early, you got to educate. You'll see that a lot of these people are saying, listen, get all your money out of the bank and spend it on you, because we're going into hard times. You need to become better, because we're going into competition. We had this good times, great, soft men. Soft men are useless, okay? Hard times, we need good men or women, okay? But you need to be good, you need to be better than your competition. And then you're desired, you're needed, you're wanted, okay? All the stuff comes from your health, your education, your understanding, and you learn how to build your plan to retire early using crypto, using digital assets, using Bitcoin. I don't see it there being a bigger opportunity than Bitcoin today. Of all the assets I can pay attention to, of everything I invest into, and I have investments, full disclosure, in property, and I have investments in commodities, and I have investments in precious metals, and probably some other bits and pieces. But the one I pay the most attention to is my crypto retirement plan. Why? Because I believe it can do it in 4 years or less. And that's why I give it all my attention, and I give it socks. And that's why I invested over 10 grand in my education in crypto, to get in with the smartest people in the space to teach me what they knew. And now I just communicate that for you guys. But it's 249. You get that for free as part of the plan, but you got to sign up towards tonight. Don't do it tomorrow and say, my kid was sick, my da-da-da-da. Everyone's about action and take responsibility. I've told you what you need to do. It's your choice whether you do it or not. If you do it by tonight, you get bootcamp emailed to you straight away. You can consume that at your leisure over the weekend. Take your time going through it. It's a half-day workshop. It's a serious crash course for any of you people who are like struggling, you don't understand. You'll really get a good understanding of wallets and everything. And then Retire Early Club, we go through it all. We break it down. We elaborate on everything, okay? Most importantly, we build a plan. We make you a sophisticated crypto investor, okay? Remember, everyone's going to own this thing, just like everyone uses the internet, pretty much everyone. So by you adopting this technology early, this is like, you couldn't buy 121 millionth of the internet 15, 20 years ago. If you could, you'd be the richest person in the world right now. But you can buy 121 millionth of digital store of value, okay, of potentially a world reserve currency. Now, whether that happens in my lifetime or not, I don't know. It doesn't need to happen though. Bitcoin just needs to continue eating the world as it has been doing for 13 years. And there's no reason to stop it. When you understand Bitcoin, you understand it has a gravity. You understand nothing can compete against it. And when you understand money, you understand that people always trade softer forms of money for the hardest form. And Bitcoin is the hardest form of money that we've ever seen. And that's why it's so exciting. That's why I get very passionate about it. Anyway, let me get out of this. I'll take a few questions there now if we have any. Oh, Jesus, there's a load of comments. Really thorough, what would you suggest? iPhone Kelly. Throw it away. I don't like eToro. You don't own the Bitcoin. You can't even withdraw it off them. So it's fake Bitcoin. Do you think Bitcoin and Celsius is lost? It's going to be a forced hodl for a while, I'd say. I don't think it's lost. I'd say there'll be some solution, hopefully internally with the crypto space, that they work it out. Which wallet is best? Ledger is my favorite. Cold Card is best wallet. Okay, we won't argue over. Cold Card's cool as well. BTC sessions on YouTube, best tutorials. Yeah, obviously everything that I teach, you can learn for free. That's the beauty of it. You can learn for free. But if you value your time, if you have the ability to buy back your time, I can teach you and you can save all your time. And you don't have to make all your mistakes. But everything that I teach, you possibly can learn for free. I wouldn't trust my memory. Either would I, Peter. Don't worry. It was just an example. I was just having the crack. Imagine getting a concussion and forgetting to see his face, Lawrence. Yeah, that would be bad. In the chat here, you can sign up to Retire Early Club on the Crypto With Dinny website. You'll see it there under workshops. But let me just find the link for you and I'll dump it in here. We literally start tomorrow. Tomorrow's our first live Zoom. So that's why I've incentivized you to get on board now. I have can't remember now. There's 38 people already registered for it, I think. And they've all got their first email and everything, and they're in the groups and everything. But I said I'd throw it out to you guys, give you a shot at it if you are interested. Let me just copy that link. Command C. It's been good to have you on this evening, and there was a great turnout, so I'm delighted. Hopefully you did get some value from that. And even if you're not coming on board, which is fine, you can learn all this stuff yourself. But you take what I'm saying on board and you realize that the counterparty risk, understand what counterparty risk is, and don't wait till you learn the lesson the hard way. I'm just catching up on the chat. Thanks for the call. I've subscribed to your YouTube channel. Happy days. We have to do the competition. Let's not forget. I use Bitbox. Could you put your names? From, please. Ledger, Trezor.com. Who's that? Teresa? Yeah, boom. I think it's Trezor.io. So mind Trezor.com. That could be a fake one. Just be careful with stuff like that. I send out all the links in the Retirement Club, so you have the right links. Don't buy dodgy ones. Be aware of scam websites that look the same, and you buy them and you buy the private wallet and it's all good, and really it's a dodgy one. So just be careful, lads. Thanks for the conversation last Saturday, helping me restore my wallet and back up my ledger. Yeah, who was that? That's James. Yeah, we backed up changes. Yeah, we had a bit of problem with the wallet, but we got that one fixed as well, James. Good stuff. Yeah, there's a link to Trezor.io. Cold Card. We're all going to make it. Never heard of Cold Card. What exchange do you use? Any of the top ones, are fine. Any of the top ones. Coinbase is a publicly traded company. They might be more expensive. I like brokers as well, especially for buying more. If anyone needs a broker recommendation, send me an email and I'll shoot you on a broker recommendation. Anyone any questions there? I'm just trying to skim through in case I missed anything. Where are your meetups? We had one in Dublin and we're planning another one. So stay tuned on the page and we'll have all that info out. Best way to get your crypto, haven't you? Can't do anything with it. Yeah, Revolut's fake Bitcoin. Is there any way of getting out of earn on crypto.com? No, just wait for the term to be up. What's the counterparty risk on crypto.com? The counterparty risk on crypto.com is just that you can't withdraw your Bitcoin, that they default, that they go out of business. Is it high risk? No, Dave, it's not super high risk. It's not something I'd really worry about. But if I had 100% of my Bitcoin on any third-party custodian, I wouldn't feel comfortable. For me, as I said, I used to risk 15%. Okay, but now I'm like, it's not worth it. The most important thing is I own this Bitcoin in 10 years. So rather than me getting my little bit of yield for the moment until the industry develops and we get more regulation so that we're protected from these big busts that are happening lately, cold storage, okay, or multi-sig. We haven't even mentioned multi-sig yet. That's something we'd be going through in the Retire Early Club. Hands up if you've heard of multi-sig. Okay. Learning you are. Use this bear market to educate yourself is what I would say to you. It's going to be boring. I don't think Bitcoin's going to rip anytime soon. It could prove me wrong. It normally does. But I think we chop a little bit. But I definitely get in position for 2024 bull run when we start printing money to get ourselves out of recession, and it coincides with Bitcoin's halving event. And Bitcoin's a coiled up spring and it's been suppressed for so long, and we get a little bit of regulation clarity and institutions dip their toe in. This is why I think it's a 4-year plan. And price is the least interesting thing. If any is listening to my podcast with a hedge fund manager, he manages hundreds of millions. Okay, his words, not mine. Price is the least interesting thing we're interested in. This is a guy who allocates a lot of money. Okay, they don't look at price. They're not interested in it. They look at value. They look at the future. They look at where the world is going. How safe is Ledger? How safe is Ledger or the other wallet? Very safe once you manage a private key. When exchanges, where does Bitcoin go? If they're insolvent, then they just don't have it to give out. Yeah, all the calls on the Retire Early Club are recorded. They're on a Thursday evening and they're all recorded and they get emailed out to you. So there's no panic if you can't make the lives. If you sign up for the club, do you get the Ledger with the boot camp? No, you don't get the Ledger with the boot camp. Buy your own. What do you think this is? A charity? Like, you want a free boot camp? You want a free Ledger? And you want a free Retire Early Club? No, buy your own. Can I pay in coffee? Dave King. Depends how much coffee, Dave. Thanks for taking the time out to just be in touch soonest. Yeah, no problem. And guys, I know Retire Early Club isn't for everyone. Some of you guys will do consulting. A lot of you guys have consulted with me. And there's no panic. Best strategy for managing capital gains tax is defer it. Don't pay it. You don't need to pay it. Why would you sell your Bitcoin today? You're not in the space to make 100 quid or 1,000 quid or 10 grand. You're in the space to make generational wealth. That's the bet. It's asymmetric. So you'd be crazy not to take it. Then you have me worried about EO. What will you do privately if so? It's best plan from your courses. It was that. Okay, sorry, I shouldn't get you worried. eToro's not going anywhere in the short term, but if you're going to build a retirement plan, the beauty about Bitcoin is you can own it and you can take it anywhere you want. Okay, you can't do that on eToro. I'm fully confident eToro is still here in 10 years time. Well, not 10 years, but in 2 years time. God knows what will happen in 10 years time. Okay, so there's no immediate panic. I don't want to freak people out, but just understand the difference between a third party mining it for you and you owning it. It's very empowering when you own it. Okay, if I have Bitcoin on this wallet, I can take it anywhere in the world. I can't do that with my properties, my physical properties. I've got to just sell them in Ireland, pay all the tax and whatever. If I have Bitcoin on this wallet, I can go surfing in El Salvador for 6 months. I pay no capital gains tax. Okay, I can go to Portugal, I can buy a house for 200 grand. Let's say my Bitcoin does really well. I can go down there and buy myself a little apartment for 200 grand. Instead of paying 200 grand in tax, I can live down there. I can realize my gains. Look at the options you have that you don't get if you choose not to custody your coins. Awesome. Freddie says, thanks guys. I hope you've got some value. If you did, spread the Crypto With Dinny message. Anyone who's getting into Retire Early Club, I see a few of you have jumped on board already. Multitaskers. Happy days. But you can jump on. Remember, if you do it by tonight, you get the bootcamp free, and that's just emailed out to you. You can consume it at your leisure. It's a lot of value in one. You can sell custody once. Yeah. Thanks, Dinny. 5k enough to start retirement pension. 5k is more than enough, I think. You can start this plan with 100 quid a week. You can start this plan with 50 quid a week. You can start this plan with 25 quid a week. Is that too little? Hell no. What if Bitcoin does 100%? We only looked at 50%. What if it does 160? Okay. Also, we have to communicate the risk. What if it does 0? What if Bitcoin breaks? And that's why any people who do consulting around, and we understand and we explain all the risk and how to manage it. But once you understand that having a small bit of exposure to it is asymmetric. So Ray Dalio's words, or was it Paul Tudor Jones, says that a portfolio is de-risked by having a Bitcoin element to it, which means it's more risky not to own Bitcoin. Paul Tudor Jones is one of the smartest hedge fund managers who's living. Okay, they're his words. That putting a Bitcoin element into your portfolio. Remember, if you have a family, you have money in the bank, you're a hedge fund. Okay, but you're 100% in cash possibly. But by having a Bitcoin element, it might only be 0.5% or 1%. You actually decrease the risk of your cash position. What's the risk of your cash position? Well, it's debasing. You're losing 8% a year, and that's compounding. And compounding is the 8 wonder of the world. That's how 5 grand became 600 grand or whatever. Okay, but inflation, negative compounding, is like it will destroy all your wealth, and that's why we can never get ahead in this system. And we work all our life. Like when you actually understand, you're like, hold on a minute, all this work I'm doing, where's my money? Where's it all gone? How come the value is being destroyed? And it's just because that's how the fiat system works. Okay, it destroys value over time. That's why learning about Bitcoin is important. And if you don't learn about Bitcoin, maybe learn about gold. But gold's going to be phased out and going to be demonetized by Bitcoin over the next period of time. But at least you're half right because you own something that's scarce as opposed to something that's abundant. Quick survey. Hands up how many people here are buying the dip. Who's that? Dave Walsh. Hands up if you're buying the dip. Hold them up there till we see. I have a couple of pages of you. Jesus, we've loads of cameras off there on page 4 and 5, but go back to page 2 and 3. Okay, boom. Ollie, thanks very much, Dinny. Buy the fucking dip. When do I win the competition? We'll do the competition now in a second. Thanks for the session, Nikki. Yeah. Can you see Bitcoin go to 100%? Dinny, no, I can't see it going to 100%. Many people in the Bitcoin space who are multi-billionaires have said if Bitcoin ever goes down low enough, they'll buy them all. Okay. How does Concility work? Where can I find out more information? Paul, if you go onto the website, Crypto With Dinny, I have 2 plans. One of them is the done with you plan. The other one is the done for you plan. Both of them will achieve the same goal. One of them just leaves you to sort out the private keys and the wallets and the security. And we just set up, how much you should invest and what you should buy and where you should buy it and where you should keep it and all that sort of stuff. And the done for you plan is we meet and I set up all the wallets and we do all the other stuff as well, but I secure it, I back it up and all the other stuff. Thanks, Ricky. Thanks, John. Property, or is a sale no matter what way you draw it down? Yeah, it's a sale. Once you exchange Bitcoin for anything, it's a capital gain. But don't worry about that because who cares? You want to own Bitcoin for its price in 10 years' time. Ideally, you want to owe about 10 million in tax. That'd be good because you get to keep the other 20 million. So aim to have as big a tax bill as you can, or put your wallet in your pocket and go and buy a property somewhere else. Go to the Isle of Man. That's what friends of mine have done. Happy days. You don't have to live there forever, but if you want to save yourself a shitload of tax, that is what wealthy people do. When you're wealthy, you'll be able to get the advice that all these wealthy people do. It's completely legal. Okay, it's just being tax efficient, and Bitcoin gives you the option to do that. Physical properties, no, sorry. Okay. Anyway, let's do a competition. So I want to give someone a chance to win Retire Early Club free. Okay. Tremendous value. All I want you to do is comment in the comments and say me. Okay. In the comments there, and we'll say me. And all I'm going to do is close my eyes and I'm going to scroll up and down a few times. You can keep typing your name as many times as you want because I'm just going to scroll up and down with my eyes closed, and whoever we land on is going to be the winner. Now, when I say stop, you can stop, okay? We'll let us go for a little bit. All the things are flying in. Bit of crack. Okay, lovely. That'll do. Has everyone got at least one guess in? Right, we'll let it fizzle out. We'll stop typing now. We'll wait till it stops now. Okay, lovely. Joe was the last one. Liz. Right, here we go. So all I'm going to do is close my eyes and scroll up and down a few times, and whoever it stops on is the winner. Usually I'll be able to see it in the chat. By the way, remember, anyone who wants to get in, even if you don't win, you're getting tremendous value. If you truly retire early, and unlike I spent 16 grand with Alex, or I spent 4 grand with Ting, I also gave Tony Robbins a couple of grand, and Dean Graziosi, and a million other people. Best money I've ever spent. I spent over 100 grand on my education. That's why I think I've been able to enjoy, what I think is success. And success is different to everyone, but I just think having my time is my success. Anyway, enough waffling. Close your eyes there. Tell me to go up or down there. I just can't say anything. Hold on, we'll scroll up a bit. Right, who are we on? Ricky Miller. Okay, Ricky Miller. Ricky, you're going to have to give me a message there now. Oh, there's Ricky. Boom, good man, fair play. Congratulations to Ricky Miller. I'm going to write that down. Ricky, if you'll just email me later, I'll send you, I'll put you into the email sequence for the Retire Early Club, send you all the links for tomorrow when we're jumping on the Zoom. You'll have to get prepared, and we're going to be cracking on. Anyone else, remember, you sign up before 12 o'clock tonight, you get the boot camp absolutely free. You get into the Retire Early Club. If you want to leave after a month, if you don't think you're getting tremendous value, if you're not learning a hell of a lot of stuff that's giving you confidence to retire early, to build this plan, to understand digital assets, to understand how to custody them, to understand how to manage it, run your family like a hedge fund, then leave. And it'll cost you 100 quid, which is what? A day out in a restaurant or an evening out in a restaurant. That's what we paid there on Saturday. And we didn't even have starters. So that's the trade. Invest in yourself. Realize that it's all about return on investment rather than price. And money spent on you, whether it's spent on personal trainers. If you're struggling with your health, hire a personal trainer. They're worth it. Okay, they'll change your life. I won't be doing it, like I can't do it, but I'm just saying, again, it's just, I've always seen that money spent on a personal trainer. It's like people go from depressed, misery, hating their body, feeling bad. Like, fucking life is now. If you feel all that shit, hire a personal trainer. They'll sort it all out for you. Well, they won't sort everything out for you, but they'll certainly get you moving. And by getting you moving, do you know how to feel good? Look, do that. Like, you can't feel bad if you force yourself to smile. Do it. If you feel terrible, stand in the mirror. Fucking make yourself do it. Try and feel bad by the amount of time you maintain that stupid grin. That's how I do it. Sometimes I have to force myself to do it. But anyway, I'm waffling. I'm just having a crack. I hope you've got good value. Everyone on the Retirement Club, you'll get an email tomorrow morning with the Zoom for tomorrow evening. It'll be recorded. If you can't make the first recording, that's fine. We go out live every fortnight on the Thursday, and you get emailed out all the lessons, just so you can build a plan along with us and build your security and get hand-holded through the journey. Ricky, if you'll just give me an email, because I don't have an email for you, so if you just email hello@cryptowithdinny.com, I'll send you out the bits and pieces if Ricky is on. And guys, if you're not subscribed on YouTube and you got some value here tonight, the way you can say thanks is jump onto the YouTube channel, Crypto with Dinny. Give it an L, subscribe. As I say, it's been a hard slog, but we're getting there. We got 1,000. And that's awesome. So have a great evening, everybody. Thanks for being here. Are there any questions? Is anyone any questions on Retire Early Club or anything that I covered just before I jump off? Maybe I'll give you a minute. Jesus, it's 8 o'clock, lads. It's more than an hour. I am some waffler. All right, no questions. Happy days, brilliant. I'm only looking at one page. I don't want to look at everyone in case there is. Anyone needs help in the future, check out the consulting, check out Retire Early, check out the bootcamp. But if you're going to do the bootcamp, buy the Retire Early, because you're literally saving yourself 250 quid because you get the bootcamp free. Anyway, been great to talk to you all. Thanks for being a part of the community. Support each other, look after each other. iPhone Kelly, out of Vitoro. Email me if you want to have a look, and I'll send you an info on the consulting if you want me to do that for iPhone Kelly. How do I get on to the Retire Early Club? Is you go on to cryptowithdinny.com and you'll be able to sign up there, or what I'll do is I'll go Command V and I'll put the link in the chat there. Okay, so links in the chat, but if you're struggling to get links out of the chat or whatever, just go on to Crypto with Dinny website, Google Crypto with Dinny, go to workshops, you'll see Retire Early Club, click buy. Excuse me, if you buy it by 12 o'clock tonight, we email you out The boot camp for absolutely free, and you can keep that forever. And you deal a deal for 500 for 12 months. Yeah, sure, Lawrence, we'll do a deal 500 for 12 months. Anyone wants a deal there? What's the crack? I think I've unmuted you there.
Me?
There you are, yeah.
Yeah. 500 for 12 months. There you go.
Cash up
Great
front.
value. Cash up front.
Yeah, sounds like a deal. Lawrence,
no.
I know you always give us a good testimonial here. You have a great value by working with us anyway.
Yeah, it's amazing. I've done the boot camp.
About 4 times.
Yeah, 3 or 4 times because I've seen the value in it. It's amazing. Taught me a lot, and that's what you need. People need to learn. You need to educate yourselves and invest in yourselves. And I've learned that before as well. I invested in myself, like what you were talking about, Alex Hormozy there. You know what I mean? Last year I invested 12 grand into a course myself. This year I'm going to invest 36,000 into something, and it's blown up our business, our online business. That's what it does. So invest in yourselves.
Yeah, you're the biggest asset that we have. I think that's what school doesn't communicate, that investing into yourself is the biggest return you can get. Yeah, Bitcoin's going to do well, but it doesn't matter how Bitcoin does if you don't have the ability to manage it, to manage the investment.
And what people forget is we invest so much in our businesses, but we don't do it in ourselves. When you start doing it in yourself, it's a complete different level. It changes your mindset, changes everything for you.
Yeah. Happy days, guys. Thanks everyone for being here. Thanks, Lawrence, for the recommendation. I know you always give me a good recommendation when. So it's good to have you in. You never miss a call, man. Fair play to you.
You taught me a lot. What can I do? You taught me a lot. You changed my life. That's what you've done, basically. You know what I mean? You showed me freedom and hope with Bitcoin.
Once you get orange pill, there's no going back, man, isn't it?
Once you get it though as well, and you really start understanding what Bitcoin is, it's going to change everybody's life. And that's what it's done for me. So people need to learn, and they need to learn quickly, because when these institutions get involved in it, people have no idea what's going to happen. This thing is going to blow up. Think about it. They're managing over $300 trillion at the moment, probably more.
If they get crucified by inflation with all of that.
Yeah. And all these institutions and pension funds manager, they're buying Bitcoin behind the scenes. So what's going to happen when it's regulated in 2 or 3 years? They're going to test the water with the funds that they're managing, because they've seen the growth already. And they're going to take 2 or 3% of that and dip it into Bitcoin the first year. And that's going to bring 300 trillion is about 9 trillion worth of money into Bitcoin. Straight away, it's going to eat gold. And then the next year, they'll do a little bit more. And the next year, they'll do more and more and more until it's everything. Property, gold, silver, bonds, stocks, shares, everything it's going to eat over time. And you'll only learn that when you start going and learning more and more and more and more.
Yeah, no, definitely exciting, man. It's a no-brainer as we know, but hopefully you guys are realizing that there's a big difference between crypto and Bitcoin. Many of you who are in crypto are probably severely smashed now that the portfolios get wrecked. That's what happens every bull run. Retail piles in, buys a load of crypto, goes up, they get smashed, they lose their money. But it's a chance to pivot. Learn about Bitcoin, it's very different. That's why we build the pension plans around Bitcoin. Yes, we can use other crypto to leverage it, and we do use other, but primarily Bitcoin is going to change our world. Bitcoin is where I think understand that first of all, and then dabble in crypto if you want, but it's much higher risk, and most people just lose their ass, and you don't need to take on that risk. But anyway, lads, I'm going to jump off here because I'm after keeping this way over half an hour, so apologies for that, but hopefully you got some good value. If you did, share the Crypto With Dinny message, teach more people about Bitcoin. If you get it, start teaching other people about it. Everyone's going to need to protect their wealth as we go through difficult times, but hard times create hard men and hard women. Have a good evening, guys. Thanks for being here. Anyone who needs to sign up, remember, just jump on Crypto With Dinny, retire early. I'll share it on the Facebook page. Grab it, buy it. You're in by 12 o'clock tonight. You get the boot camp. Hope free. Okay, Dinny out. Thanks, Lawrence. Thanks, everyone, for being here. Have a great evening. Boom.